This video is about using the log laws, and you have got two possible instructions. Either you are instructed to simplify an expression or you are instructed to expand an expression. We will first look at the simplification. So when you look at this example, you got log B minus 2 log C plus 3 log A. So if you know your three basic log laws, let me just go through them again. You got the multiplication law, where the log of x times y, so the product, equals the sum of their logs. Remember that then is log x plus log y. Emphasis is put on the same basis. The log laws are only applied when you have the same base. Then the division law, when we have one log where x divided by y, that gives us the difference of the two logs. So log x minus log y is equal to log x divided by y. Then lastly, the index law, which is x to the power of n. Okay, the log of an x with an index n becomes n times the log of x. So when we look at the example log B minus 2 log C plus 3 log A, we first apply the power log. Okay, which means this becomes the power of C and that becomes the power of A. So it will become log B minus log C to the power of 2 plus log A to the power of 3. Okay, then identify the plus, which is the power law, and the minus, which is the division law. So let's apply the product law first. Okay, which means this becomes log. We're going to write a to the power of 3 first because that is just how we use it. And then apply the quotient law, which is then the dividing by. So we're going to divide this by c to the power of 2. So we applied the power law. Firstly, 2 times the log becomes then c to the power of 2. 3 times the log of a becomes the log of a to the power of 3. Thereafter, we identify the different logs with your plus and your minus. The plus, remember, is the product law, so we must multiply the b and the a to the power of 3, and the minus is the quotient law, so we must actually divide by c squared. Right, in the next example, log 60 minus 3. So now we have a log and a whole number. We cannot work with that. We must either make them both numbers or we must make them both logs. Now, for your basic numbers, you need to know the following. We know that 10 to the power of 1 equals 10. Therefore, the log of 10 equals 1. Okay? 10 to the power of 2 equals 100. Therefore, the log of 100 equals 2. Or 10 to the power of 3 equals 1000. Therefore, the log of 1000 equals 3. And so forth. Okay, so we now got 3 in our equation, which means we can rewrite that in log format. That therefore becomes log 60 minus log 1000. These basic small whole numbers, people, you must just simply know. All right, and if you look at this now, we again got a division. subtraction, which means this is the quotient law. Okay, it's taking a while to getting used to identifying this, but you must be aware of plus and minus, because minus is the quotient law. This becomes the single log of 60 divided by 1000, and if you press this into your calculator, it is simplified to log of 3/50. So importantly here, people, you cannot work with logs and whole numbers. You must either express them both as logs, or you must express them both as whole numbers. Then we usually apply the laws, starting at the power law and then the quotient law and product law at the same time. In the next example, this looks really quite complicated. You've got 2 log 5 minus log the 5th root of 32 squared plus 2 log 4. So very important, people, is that in step 1 we will change all the whole numbers to its prime factors so that we can get them into index format, because remember, there is a power law. So if you look at this, then you want to change 32 to its prime factors, which becomes 2 to the power of 5. That's 32. So that you still got squared, and you still got the 5th root thereof. That's the first one. Then also we've got 4, which is not in their prime factors. That becomes 2 squared. Okay, so rewrite the whole equation or expression. Now the next thing that you see is that there is still the 5th root, and we learned that to solve the 5th root you basically divide the index by 5. So that becomes 2 log 5 minus log, now start in the middle, center, 2 to the power of 5, and then to the power of 2/5. By that, you have then solved the 5th root. Okay, plus 2 log 2 squared. All right, now here we can calculate 2 to the power of 5 times 2/5. We can cancel the 5th, so that becomes log 2 squared. Right, then we can now rewrite this. Okay, plus 2 log 2 squared. Now we have solved your basic numbers into their index format, right? And if you look at this now, you should then see that we still got the power law applying, which is 2 log 5 becomes log 5 squared. This is already in a power log, so it remains log 2 squared, plus here we can still have that one, the power log, so that's 2 squared to the power of 2. Now we have applied the power law to everything. Now we must identify the operations. Remember, your minus is the quotient law, so that is division, and your plus is your product law, so that is multiplication. So now we can simplify that into a single log. This becomes the log of 5 to the power of 2. Then let's do the times. 2 to the power of, that's multiplied 4. And then this one is divided by 2 to the power of 2. Okay, and if you press all of this into your calculator, 5 squared times 2 to the power of 4, divide by 2 to the power of 4, it will give you the log of 100. And we have just remembered, or you should now remember, that 10 to the power of 2 equals 100. So the log of 100 equals 2. So my final answer for this one is 2 whole. So this is certainly being simplified. I go through these steps again. It's a bit difficult to remember what is your order of operations. But if you get anything where you don't have prime factorization, then please do that first. Because remember that logs are actually indices. They are just expressed in another format. So then we will always work from the outside in, which means we must solve the fifth root in this case. Thereafter comes the power law. Thereafter comes the product and quotient law. Both of these we can do together. Then after this, in this case, because we've got log 100, you could also just press that into your calculator and it will give you the answer of 2. Okay, this is simplifying log expressions.